In this particular chapter, Dr. Kelly quotes an article in its entirety to drive home his point. So when I do say a quote, it's not Dr. Kelly saying it. He simply has found an article that really agrees with his point of view, and I'm simply quoting from that article. Quote, "Self and money are alike, the roots of much evil, and in the dispensation of money, as in the acquisition and possession, the Christian is expected to stand upon a grace relationship to God." End quote. My response is that the Apostle Paul said it was not money that was the root of all evil, but the love of money. In fact, 1 Timothy 6:10 says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." Quote 1. Christ was their pattern. The Lord giving of himself, 2 Corinthians 8:9, is the pattern of all giving under grace. He did not give a tenth, he gave his all. End quote. And one should not teach tithing because it is too much of a burden on the poor. Then how in the world can one teach giving your all is the pattern set by Christ for the believer? Isn't that a contradiction? If you can convince all that we are to give all, then my hat's off to you. For then all would have already given their tithes by default. Since tithing is 10% and the pattern is that of giving your all, then 10% would be part of the all, and thus all would be tithers. And beyond, by the way. Quote 2, their giving was even out of great poverty. So the poor are not to tithe, since that's too much of a burden, according to some. To do so would be wrong, yet the poor gave beyond their means to give. So if it's wrong for the poor to tithe because they would be neglected of their needs, yet the poor did give beyond their level to give, and the article seems to be suggesting that that is the pattern for us. You might want to rethink that one. Seriously. Quote 3, their giving was not by commandment. End quote. Well, yes and no. Dr. Kelly, did you really forget so soon what you had said just a few pages back? 2 Corinthians 16:1. Now concerning the collection of the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye. Quote, this injunction is addressed to every man, every Christian man, and thus excuses none. And giving is to be from that which is already in store. End quote. So no command to give, and yet you say there's no excuse not to give? Sounds like a contradiction to me. Quote 4, the early Christians first of all gave themselves. Nothing new here. And I will discuss Romans chapter 12:1 about presenting your body a living sacrifice in a little while. Quote 5, Christians in the early church also gave systematically, like tithing, a suggested systematic regularity in giving under grace. End quote. That's just something I've been hammering over and over again. I'm glad you came on board. I call it being consistent. The Bible refers to it as being a, wait for this, good steward. Again, the only difference that should exist between the tithe and 1 Corinthians chapter 16 verses 1 and 2, commanded by the Apostle Paul, is what percent one gives. 6. God sustains the giver. End quote. I agree. And God looks at the heart. Yet if one has a heart to tithe, I see no reason why God would not sustain that person that has a heart to tithe. Quote 7. True riches are from God. End quote. I agree with that. But I believe that God wants not only to bless us with spiritual blessings, but with natural ones. In fact, in my reference, and this is how I will end this particular video, it's 3 John 1:2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth.